Here's Heather in Texas says, a question that's bantered at our house lately. Why would a perfect God choose to create man with a disposition to choose sin? Why did he even allow sin if at one time he said it was all good? This is a great question, and I am very glad to see households that banter around theological issues. And it's sad that sometimes you can't even go to church, find a church that'll talk about theological issues. So God bless the Parsons family there. But on the question here, why would a perfect God choose to create a man with a disposition to choose sin? Now, first of all, I'm going to question the assumption on the disposition to choose sin. All we know is that man did choose to sin. Did he have that disposition? I'm not sure that's an accurate way to put it. He had the opportunity for sin. Being created in the image of God, I would be hesitant to give him the disposition there. And of course, we'd have to define what that means to be created in the image of God. But, and I think you probably would agree with me on the wording of that question there, that certainly mankind was created through Adam and Eve with the opportunity to sin. So why would God create such an opportunity? And especially you say, why would a perfect God choose to create a man with, if I can rephrase the question, with his opportunity to sin? I want to go on your question there, a perfect God. Would it be a perfect creation if the opportunity to sin was not there? You see, I think what we want is to be something more than robots. And God could have created robots, no doubt about it. And yet, would that have been man in his own image? You see, I think that you've got two mutually exclusive things here. You cannot create man in the image of God and not give man any choices. Because I think part and parcel of being in the image of God is you are a creature of free will. You are a creature with the ability to think and reason and conclude and decide. And so this was part of it. So sometimes we want to come along and we want to deepen the conversation here, we want to blame God for not doing that which can't be done. And in other words, we want to blame God because he didn't make a circle square. The truth is, you can have a square or you can have a circle. You cannot have a circle square. There's no such thing. It's impossible. They are mutually exclusive. It's straight with corners or it's curved with no corners. Okay, and that's your choices there in that certain economy. Now, what we want is to say man can be created in God's image, and I use we in a very broad sense there. Man can be created in God's image with the perfect image of God, and the ability to respond to him and to have fellowship with him, yet he can't have any ability to sin. And I think we're asking God to do the impossible. And you say, well, nothing's impossible for God. It's impossible for him to make a circle square. It's impossible for him to defy his own logic. Otherwise, we would just as well throw away the book and throw away any logic and any reason. So, why did he choose to allow sin if at one time he said that all was good? And I think that certainly everything obviously was good at that point. And I think it was good precisely because he had given man the fullness of what it was to be created in the image of God. He had given man the complete ability to decide. That was very good. He could have created a bunch of little robots. You remember a number of years ago, they had these, I can't even remember what the names of them were, but little electronic pets. You remember, and you'd feed them and you'd talk to them and all that kind of stuff. And they were a craze for a while. Then there was these little fuzzy puppies that came out, and they'd jump around and they'd, you could train them to do a couple of things. But the truth is, the fad died out pretty quickly because after about 2 days of that thing, you realized this is just a little machine that can only do what it's programmed to do. And we're bored with it. it was a waste of our money. It's not all that cool. There's not much to it. Let's move on to something else. Now, God could have created a world in which it was, that kind of program type thing. This is another one of the reasons I'm not a Calvinist. I think that's the world that the Calvinist has created in their Calvinist theology. Is God has created a world in which everything is pre-programmed, and you may be pre-programmed to go to heaven, you may be pre-programmed to go to hell, and everything's just going just like clockwork all the way through. Somehow they say all of that is to the glory of God, and I just don't understand how you rob God of his glory and then call it glorious. But that's certainly where all of that is and all that comes to be.